Welcome, everybody. The Emerging Threats and Capabilities Subcommittee meets today to receive testimony from Admiral Craig Fowler, Commander of U.S. Southern Command, or as we call it, Southcom. Our focus will be on the evolving security situation in this theater, as well as Southcom's efforts to implement the National Defense Strategy. Welcome to the Admiral. Thank you very much for being here, sir. I certainly appreciate it. Today's hearing is a continuation of the subcommittee's efforts to provide oversight over national defense strategy implementation. This is an important component of our efforts to ensure our military is appropriately resourced, equipped, and postured to defend the nation against a growing array of threats. While much attention has been on countering China and Russia in their traditional spheres of influence in Europe and across the Indo-Pacific region, this subcommittee has been particularly focused on how those nations are increasingly challenging U.S. national security interests, not just within their own geographic boundaries, but elsewhere around the world. Last year, the subcommittee held a hearing with leading experts to discuss China's expanding presence in Africa and the implications for our interests and those of our partners. It was made clear during the hearing that China is undertaking a comprehensive and long-term approach to bolstering its global access and influence, oftentimes with the goal of undermining the United States of America. The situation in the Western Hemisphere is no different. Admiral Fowler, you highlighted in testimony earlier this year that China has accelerated expansion of its Belt and Road Initiative in the Western Hemisphere at a pace that may one day overshadow its expansion in Southeast Asia and Africa. China's strategic engagement in the Southcom region bolsters China's geopolitical network at the expense of U.S. security interests and regional stability. China's efforts to back oppressive governments, such as the Maduro regime in Venezuela, and to pump loans into local economies at unpayable interest rates, reveal China's interest in spreading influence and consolidating power. As a result, Latin America has become a fixture for China's ambitions, utilizing economic coercion to grow support for Chinese foreign policy objectives, including and the exclusion of the U.S. and Canada from regional discourse. Trade and economic ties between the United States and Latin America are changing, with China recently surpassing the United States as the main destination for exports from several Latin American countries. China is also deepening military and technological ties in the region. For example, we have seen deepened space-related cooperation in Brazil, Venezuela, and Argentina. China has increased arms sales in a manner that violates U.S. and EU restrictions and hinders our ability to integrate with our strategic partners. Meanwhile, Russia is also working to expand its influence in the region. The Putin regime seeks to erode U.S. influence in the Southcom area of responsibility and has doubled down on its efforts to prop up corrupt authoritarian regimes in Venezuela, Cuba, and Nicaragua through economic and military assistance. For many years, Putin has viewed Latin America as a natural link in the chain making up a multipolar world, and recent port visits by Russian Navy vessels and the deployment of a long-range bomber to the region highlight Russia's efforts to strengthen its global reach in a new age of great power competition. In fact, just a couple weeks ago, the Admiral Gorshkov, one of Russia's most advanced warships, was docked in Havana Harbor. Finally, drivers of migration, including violence, corruption, and poverty, place significant strain on regional governments and can engender regional instability, impacting not only the southern border of the United States, but providing additional flashpoints for China and Russia to exploit at the expense of American soft power. All of this demonstrates clearly that the Western Hemisphere should be viewed as an important front in our efforts to compete with China and Russia and implement the NDS. I look forward to your input and your candid assessment of the evolving security dynamics in this region. Describe how the NDS information is important and how you'll allocate Southcom's limited resources, as well as identify any challenges that may impair your ability to accomplish your mission. And thank you again, Admiral, for joining us today, and I look forward to the discussion. I'll now turn it over to Senator Peters, our ranking member, for your opening statement.